Hey, how we doing today, fourth and fifth grade? I thought I would just take a second here and I would talk a little bit about the create a game assignment that we mentioned last week when we were in school together. So I'll go over it here real quick, and then, like I said, if you have any questions about like what you're supposed to do, remember my office hours are going to be on day 4, so this Friday. Um, uh, my information is on the assignment for the week for the workout. So if you get a chance and you have any questions, you can always get in touch with me that way. So for our create a game assignment, you are being tasked with creating an original physical education game for class. So I want you to use this distance time to be working on that, so that when we get back, we can be playing your game when we get there. Just a reminder, your game must have throwing and catching involved. All right, and I have all those new dodgeballs, so try to utilize them. Just some of the things you need to have: the name of the game, the number of players, your playing areas, and the boundaries, what materials you need, your rules, all that stuff. Um, those are just kind of little things we want to have. So, potential materials. This is just a list of some of the things that I have available in my office that if you think that maybe you want them for your game, you sure could use those, okay? And then as you're working on this, once you've kind of figured out what materials you need to just write in here exactly what it is. For example, most of you will probably have dodgeballs, right? And a lot of you will probably want to use mats. And a lot of you might want to use, like we'll just say the flags, okay? Oops. So those just all be examples of stuff that you can, oops, there we go, stuff that you can use. And just a couple things to remember as you're doing it. You want to have as many people moving as possible when you're making your game. You want your game to be fun and safe, and making sure that if you do teach this game if you like maybe partner up and do this together, making sure that everyone knows your game and that everyone can teach a little bit. Okay? So right over here, you just write in what the name of your game is, the group members. If you have more than one in your group, you would just write their names in right here. Your rules, okay? Don't eat your classmates. Hey, if you create a game called Zombie Ball, you definitely don't want to eat your classmates, okay? Don't run into walls. Now, this right here is kind of an obvious rule. So I just wrote this in here just, to show you like what it looks like to have a rule. But make sure that your rules are very clear, and that they are important for making your game work. Um, if you're playing a dodgeball game, you might want to have a rule that says you have to stay on your side, or maybe there's something where you get your flags pulled or something like that. Just make sure that your rules are very clear. You want to have enough rules that your game works really well, but not so many that it gets bogged down and people don't feel like they can play it. And like I said, here's an example of a penalty. If you cross the line, then you would have to sit out for 30 seconds. I mean, if you think about the way that we play some of our dodgeball games in class, there have been times where if you've gone and you've touched the other, you've gone on the other side, when you weren't supposed to, then I think maybe giving you a 30-second penalty. Okay, so obviously your game should have a goal. So the goal is to be the last team with players in at the end. How many players at a time? Your game may be a game where everyone is playing at the same time, where you have 2 teams, you have 4 teams. I would encourage you as much as possible when you're creating this game to have as many players in as you can at a time, just because the more people that are in, the more involved that people are, the less chances you're going to have problems with people messing around while you're doing this stuff. Playing area diagram, okay? So this says just please include stationary boundaries like basketball hoops, goals, etc. If maybe for your game you want me to bring out like some of the soccer nets, in that case you would want to just make sure you write that on here. Now, earlier on when I had this document up, I had a little table here created so that you could put your stuff inside. What I'm finding using the Google Docs for this, it doesn't work very good. So what I'm going to suggest to you is if you're opening up this document as a PDF, you're able to actually doodle right there on the document. If you're opening it up like in Google Sheets, what I would recommend is use one of the apps on your iPad and just just doodle like the gym. So just draw yourself a big rectangle, and then like draw like the basketball hoops on there. Draw the lines for how you want your game to be divided. If you want the game to be divided in it, like where the middle black line of the gym is one side and the other side, then you can do it that way. If you want to do it like hot dog style, the long way, like when we play capture the football or capture the pin or something like that, just draw a rectangle and then draw it in half that way, and then you can just draw. Really, the whole point of having this diagram right here, guys, is it just helps me set your game up. Okay, so if I know what equipment that you need before you come into class, just by looking at your game, then I can set stuff up and be more efficient with our time. And then hopefully, what we'll be able to do on those days is get multiple groups through. So that's kind of an important thing to have. So that's basically the big thing, is I just need to know, okay, is there going to be a curtain down? Is there going to be the gym cut in half one way? Is it going to be cut in half the other way? What equipment are you going to need? And from there, I can get a pretty good idea of what your game needs to look like. I'm going to give you guys a couple of weeks to work on this. I'm going to put this in so that the due date is, let's see, today is October 30th. I'm going to give you until the middle of November on the Create a Game. All right, and I will be sending out probably a little reminder. I might even do a Zoom meeting here over the next couple of weeks, just so I can kind of gauge your progress and see where you're at on this. Like I said, if you have any questions, if you look at the other assignment for Phi-Ed that we have up for the week, you can just my phone number and my email are at the bottom of that document. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. We're going to go on the 4-day schedule. So on day 4, which is this Friday, I'm in the office all day, and you can call me and talk to me, and I'm there to help you guys out, especially if you have any questions with things. Okay. Get your parents involved. I think this could be a very, very fun project for them to do with you too. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to create your own game. But just remember, there must be throwing and catching involved in it somehow. Okay? Have a good day. Good luck. And I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.